welcome to my conversation with Tracy. She is an expert working with parents who has LGBT children. Now, this part has been cut out because it doesn't apply to just parents with LGBT children because it applies to all of us and how we speak to our children about sex and when we should start educating them about sex. So this is what you'll be watching in this video. And at the end of this video, if you'd like to watch the whole thing, there will be a little thing you can click on the top here, I think, or maybe here. Yeah, just click on that and it'll take you to the full video. Thank you. We'll move on to this part I've spoken to Tracy about, but we've never really delved into it because I thought, oh, let's keep it until, we have this conversation and this is good.
Let's see where we go with it.
I know. Now, every parent wants to talk about this topic, but we struggle. Some parents don't want to talk about it because they don't want to know about it. It's almost like, no, my children, they don't have sex. It's not normal. It is normal. Have you forgotten how when you were 16, 18, you can't get enough? It's very normal, people. Very normal.
Yes, it is.
And the more you are open to talk to them about it, the better it is. So I, for example, am very open to, I want to talk about it, like I want to educate, but they are shutting me out. They're like, no, mom, don't need to talk to you about it. So how do we do it?
Yeah, so you're right. It's a topic of conversation that some parents are really uncomfortable with. Some parents really want to talk about it, but the kids don't want to talk about it.
Isn't it the irony of it all?
I will give you a really good reason to be having the conversation before we even get into it.
Okay.
Kids today, if they don't get their education and their information from a healthy, intelligent, well-informed adult, they are going to get it from porn.
Yes, they do.
That is the bottom line. In fact, regardless of whether you have the conversation or not, they're going to get a lot of their information and education from porn. Almost every young person will do that.
Yeah, so to parents out there, your little angel would have seen porn. I'm sorry to say.
Yeah, well, depending on their age.
Yes. Sorry, yes, when I said little, not like little.
Much younger than what you think.
No. Likely. Really?
Yeah. I'm not going to put an age on it because, of course, every child is different.
Yeah.
But we need to start these conversations young. Now, obviously, you keep the conversations age appropriate. You're not going to be talking about the details of sexual intercourse with a 3-year-old. Of course, no. I'm not saying that. But we do need to be starting those conversations with very young children around body parts, using appropriate language, using the correct language when we talk about body parts.
That's right.
Giving children the opportunities to and creating space where they can have full control over their own body. So not forcing them to be hugged by people they don't want to be hugged by.
That's right.
And, things like that, so that they learn, because it's not just about sex. It's also about consent, and it's about healthy relationships. And kids start learning this from very, very young. That's from day one, really. So if they learn that they can say no to crazy Uncle Joe that wants to give them a big smooch on the cheek and bear hug them, then that's a great thing. Because crazy Uncle Joe, when I say crazy, he's like eccentric and loud and whatever. He needs to respect them, and they need to know that he will respect them.
Yeah, that's hard.
And then they can have a hug when they want a hug.
Yeah. Not
because he decides he wants one, and then the parents feel guilty and feel like, oh, this is awkward. Yeah, go and give Uncle Joe a hug.
Yeah, I know. That's hard.
We need to support our kids.
That's right.
It is. But this is where the education around sexual health, healthy relationships, and consent starts.
Wow. No, I did not know that.
Yeah. It's not all the birds and the bees. Wow. That's well into it. It's really young, where we teach our kids that our body parts are not parts to be ashamed of. So we use the proper language, not using funny names because we're ashamed or embarrassed to talk about.
I know.
Them. And then we help them realize that, their body is their body, even their shoulder. Like, it's not just the private parts, and calling them private parts is probably not that helpful either. But even a hand on their shoulder, if they don't want someone's hand on their shoulder, they have the right to say no. And these are the
Wow.
things that we can teach kids really, really young.
I love it. I'm going to bring this up with my parenting expert. I don't know if she's aware of that. I love it.
Yeah, this is all like comes from my training around sexual abuse and then consent and how all that works.
Right.
I get a lot of
Wow. No, we do. I mean, I'm guilty of it. Then,
So
grandma
that's
needs a
because
hug. You have
we're
to go
not
and give her a hug. Oh
informed.
my God.
Yeah. So if your child has a good relationship with that person, you inviting them saying, "Oh, do you want to give grandma a hug?" Then that gives them control.
Right.
And if they say no, you let them know that's okay. That's okay. Grandma, you don't have to say it like this exactly, but grandma still loves you, and you can give grandma a hug whenever you like. I'm sure grandma would love it when you decide you'd like to, or like different things like that. It's giving them permission to say no.
No, but that
and
is if the extended family understands what you're doing.
But what's the most important thing here?
Thank you.
Your child's safety, their health, their well-being, or grandma's feelings being hurt. You can always have a conversation with grandma later and say, look, I've just learnt that this is a really important part of teaching my child how to have healthy relationships when they're older.
Yeah.
It's not about you personally.
I love it.
And so we're just now practicing them being able to say no, and you're a safe person for them to say no to.
You
so
are
this
very
is
good
where
at
they
your
get
job.
to practice.
You are very good at your job.
So, if you anticipate this might be something that's going to happen, then you can word them up first and just say, this is what we're practicing now. I want you to know this isn't about you. You're a safe person for her to practice, or him to practice, or them to practice saying no to.
Yeah.
So I just want to let you know in advance so you're not, kind of uncomfortable in that moment, because you also don't want grandma or whoever then going, yes, you have to give me a hug, and going up and
I know.
because then you're in that difficult situation where you've got to then go, actually, they said no.
That's it.
Yeah. So if you anticipate it, having the conversation with the adults first is often helpful. It's not always easy, not always possible, even because you might not see them all the time, but
yeah, that's right.
It's definitely a way to.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be a snap the fingers, oh, I've just learned this thing, I have to do this with everybody. You can work your way into it.
Yeah.
Especially if your kids are a bit younger and you've got some time. But it's just like helping them.
That's such a great place to start.
That's where all of these things start. Sexual health, consent, healthy relationships, that's where it starts. If we're talking about kids as they're getting older and we want to start having conversations more specifically around sex and sexual health, we need to have these conversations, again, age appropriately. But you need to check yourself as a parent what's age appropriate, because we often, like you mentioned at the start, we think our kids aren't going to have sex until they're like 25 or something because we just don't want to go there.
That's it.
But let me tell you a key trick. Don't wait until they're in a serious relationship and you're going, they're going to be having sex, I've got to have this conversation.
That's
because
right.
They are going to be so weirded out by that, and they're going to shut down, and you're going to be awkward and uncomfortable potentially. And even if you're not, they're not going to want to hear it.
That's it.
So giving them the information earlier. So if you think about, I don't know, other situations that you teach them things, you don't wait until they're in. You're not going to wait until they're in the deep ocean before you teach them to swim. You're going to teach them in a shallow pool first.
But that's the thing, though. Everything else we anticipate and we teach them ahead of time is just this one thing.
Yeah.
This sex thing,
we don't talk about it. Different.
Yeah, but we don't talk about it until they have a serious girlfriend, and then bam, we're going to try and jam it in. Yeah, you're right.
So we need to be mindful of that. So if you are in a position now that you can do that, then that's what I suggest, doing it when they're younger. If you're sitting there going, oh crap, I've missed the boat because they're now 16 and in a serious relationship or whatever, that's okay. Just be mindful that it's going to be really hard for them to hear. and your approach will be a little bit different. So you might be, you might say to them, look, you know, I want to have a conversation with you, etc., etc., and they're going to be like, la 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 la, not listening. Then you've got to create a safe space for them. You've got to create a space where they can feel comfortable, where they can feel like, yes, I can have this conversation, or I can at least listen. So first of all, you let them know you don't need to say anything back to me, but there are some things that I need you to hear, that are important for you to hear. And I'm saying this, I'm wanting to say this to you because I respect whoever the partner is, and I respect you, and I know you're a kind and caring person, and I want you to be able to go into that relationship or be in that relationship in a kind, loving, caring way, because I know that's what's going to feel best for you.
Yeah.
Now, if you know your child's listening or watching, I should say, porn, then that's an even more important. I mean, you can safely assume that they most likely are if they're adolescent age or older. And you can name that, and they will be like, "Ugh." But naming it means that they then no longer have to hide.
That's it. You're
they
right.
know that you're on the same page as them. They know that you understand. They know that you get it. And so trust me, some of it will sink in, and it needs to be more than one conversation. It doesn't need to be, let's sit down and talk about the birds and the bees for 3 hours.
Here's the PowerPoint presentation I prepared for you.
But trying to, like, you know, allow it to be part of conversations on a semi-regular basis. So what you want to let kids know is that what happens in porn, so making sure they don't feel shamed for watching porn. Porn's normal. Everybody,
it is normal,
you know, is watching it now, you know, etc., etc. The difference is, you know, for a lot of parents, is that when they or their friends were looking at porn back in the day,
it was magazines.
They were magazines. They were still pictures. You couldn't interact, and you weren't getting behaviors. You were getting still pictures.
Yes.
And also, it was nowhere near as accessible. So people might have had one magazine under their pillow or 5 magazines under their pillow, not have this constant access to just be binge watching really unhealthy porn.
Yeah.
The other thing is too, porn is it used to be, well, it still is regulated, but the problem is the industry is regulated, but the internet isn't. Yeah. So a lot of what kids access or people access online is not part of the industry, and therefore it's not regulated. So it used to be that you couldn't, you know, with when I say regulated, it's like called soft porn, hard porn, XXX, or, you know, whatever. I don't know what all the names are, but so someone could go in and watch soft porn, and that would be literally soft porn. You know, what we would probably expect.
Actually, is what's on TV now, soft porn. Seriously.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. So, but so much of it now is not part of the industry, so it's not regulated. So we get to see, if you know, and without even intending, we get to see some pretty harsh, full-on things that are not normal sexual experiences for most people.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah. So this is why we're having this conversation, right? Because most people don't know this, and this is happening because of it's impossible to regulate what's coming up on the internet.
Yeah, that's right.
So I did a training years ago around this, and like I didn't run the training, I attended the training. And what I learned, one of the things that really stood out to me in that was that young men and women they truly believe that some of these experiences, some of these behaviors are what is expected of them. So young men are doing things thinking that that's what girls like, and I'm talking about heterosexual sex at the moment.
Yeah.
But they're thinking that that's what girls like. And girls are watching it and thinking, oh, this is what I'm meant to like. So they're putting up with stuff that they think they're meant to like. Yeah, it's really, really scary stuff.
Wow.
So this is why it's so important we need to have the conversation.